which books in my personal collection have shown the most increase as well as the most decrease in value over the last week. We'll take a look at some of those books and maybe some of the reasons why up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hey there, comic book community. This is Jim coming to you with another video. And before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe. We're going to do our 3,500 subscriber giveaway real soon, and we're heading towards 4,000 subscribers. In addition, follow us on other socials, Bronzeville_comics on Instagram, same handle on Whatnot. There's a link in the description of this video that if you have not yet signed up to Whatnot, you use that, your first time purchase, you'll get $10 off your first purchase. If it's with me or with another vendor, does not matter. Also, in the description is a link to my eBay store, as well as my email if you want to get in touch with me. So I decided to try something new, as well, to a little bit less cluttered background. I'm working on the comic space right now. Over the long weekend, I got a little bit done, but it's still very much a work in progress. I have a lot of books to sort. But what I wanted to do was take a look at some of the books that have shown the greatest increases and decreases in value. Now, I catalog my collections in the CLZ app. Now, I don't get paid by either CLZ or Cover Price, but I do use their products. And recently, CLZ has partnered with Cover Price to do a pricing part of their collection. So if you already had a Cover Price account, you could link the two, and it's essentially free. If you're not interested in that, if you're a CLZ user, because I know there's some people, they don't really care about the value of their collection. They just want to know the books that they have. They're collectors, more than in it for what the value is. They're not looking to sell their books. You could do that as well. You don't need to link it to Cover Price, but I do. Because I want to see the value of the books in my collection. And I do buy a lot of books with the intention of selling them as I keep books from my personal collection, upgrade books in my personal collection, what have you. And in the CLZ app, you can go to update prices. I think that's the icon. And it'll update the prices and list all the books that have changed in value from the biggest change. Scroll all the way down to the biggest loss, and it'll give you a summary of what your collection is currently worth according to their fair market value, and whether it's up or down and how much from the last time you updated the values. So what I decided to do, I'm going to update the values every Monday and take a look. Now, this is not just my own PC. This is books I have as part of other collections that I may be looking to sell, but I do have them in the collection right now. So I'm going to start with the biggest losses. We'll go with there. Now, keep in mind that this is just a snapshot of what's going on in the market. If you are interested in what the values of comics, your particular comics are that you're either looking to sell or looking to buy, make sure you do your due diligence. Look at multiple sources, look at prices and grades above or below it, and see if there's a trend. See how old the grades are. Because sometimes that happens with books that haven't moved in a while, and sometimes Cover Price doesn't accurately reflect all the sales. So this is an interesting one. This was a loss of $65 for Adam #3 from the Silver Age, which is the first appearance of Kronos. It went from a value in a fine raw comic of $95 all the way down to $30. I think that's just somebody who maybe got a good deal on a book that doesn't trade hands too often. I do have this book in my personal collection. I would definitely buy a fine copy for $30. Number 9 on the list, and this is interesting and not terribly surprising, is a copy of Detective Comics 359 in a CGC 3.0, which lost $90 in value in the last week, went from $620 down to $530. First appearance of Batgirl. Now, we did see some dips when the movie was canceled, and we haven't heard any news about Batgirl recently, so I think that book has kind of trended to course correct. I think some people during the comic boom jumped on that book with the anticipation that the movie would boost its value. So Detective Comics 359 has dropped. And you might see a little bit of a pattern here. Number 8, another book that had big movie spec during the pandemic, and that is What If? Number 10 in a CGC 9.6, the first appearance of Jane Foster as Thor, down $103 from $398 to $295. This book continues to fall. A lot of excitement about Natalie Portman portraying Jane Foster. The movie came and went. It met with, at best, mixed reviews, and we don't think there's any avenue forward for Natalie Portman to portray Jane Foster in the MCU. Number 7. This is a book that is weighted down. It's got an anvil on it. It is Star Wars 42. First appearance of Boba Fett in a CGC 9.8 is down another $104, down from $1,880 to $1,776. It's lost more than half its value since its peak, when it peaked probably at around $4,000, or at least in the high 3,000s. That book continues to go. Now, you talk about sometimes sales aren't accurately reflected. I saw at one point that the value went down like $1,000. And then I looked, there was a sale for $18.50 for a CGC 9.8 direct edition. So I looked on eBay. It actually was a keychain of Star Wars 42 and a CGC 9.8. There's a company that creates keychains that look like CGC slabs of key comics. So I actually reached out to Cover Price, and they removed that listing. And so then the price went back up again. So that's an interesting book to keep an eye on. I do think it will kind of rebound, but it's going to be a long time before it gets above $3,000 again. Number 6 on the list, Detective Comics 400, the first appearance of Man-Bat in a CGC 5.0, is down $108. Went from $312 to $204. I don't think we're seeing this character anytime soon. I don't think we're going to see Man-Bat in the Matt Reeves universe. This book has always been a key, but it seems to have corrected. And sometimes we'll see these books, I'm pretty sure, in future weeks rebounding and going back up in value. Number 5 on the list, this hurts a little bit. Green Lantern 87 in a CGC 8.5. I have 2 of them. Down $121 from $846 down to $725. This book was well over $1,000. It appears, DC of course still in flux, that their HBO Max TV series is going to be centered around Jon Stewart. I think this book will rebound when that happens, but again, that we'll have to wait and see. Number 4 on the list, a Golden Age book, and you have to take these with a grain of salt. Superman number 6, in poor condition, raw, down $160 from $550 to $380. The problem with poor books is that there is a great deal of disparity in the desirability of a poor comic. Is the front cover complete and intact? Or is it damaged? Is it faded? Does it have tape all over it? Does it have discoloration? Or is the trade dress removed? You could get a poor comic that's missing the back cover. Front cover looks gorgeous. That would be much more desirable. So there's a lot of variability in very low-grade books, and this is not a book, Superman number 6, which is from the early 1940s, that trades hands too often. Number 3 on the list, Fantastic Four number 52, the first appearance of T'Challa the Black Panther, down $303 in raw fine from $993 to $690. Of course, we've seen Black Panther come and go. We know T'Challa is not going to be back in the MCU. This is a solid key, though. I think it will settle into a pretty decent price, but Comic Boom hit this book, and then Boseman's passing hurt it. The movie didn't give it much of a boost. Let's look at number 2 on the list, and we're going to revisit something. It's Detective Comics 359, the first appearance of Barbara Gordon Batgirl in a CGC 7.0, which is down $320 from $1,560 to $1,240. Again, we talked about it. The movie canceled. Batgirl's going to be back. Maybe not now, maybe a few years from now, but we are going to see Batgirl again. And this is a solid Silver Age key. One of those books that may be time to buy. And the book with the biggest drop in value in my personal collection, these are books that I own, is Daredevil #1 in a raw VG, down $848 from $4,798 to $3,950. Daredevil was a book that, like a year or so ago, everybody, Daredevil #1 is undervalued. It kind of caught up Charlie Cox. Rumors that he's going to be in the MCU, maybe in Spider-Man. He does appear in No Way Home. Book gets a boost. Then he's going to be in She-Hulk, an announcement of his own series, and that book kind of went up and up and up, and it probably hit a high point, at least for the time being, and then has since come down. So those are the biggest losers. Okay, let's go to the biggest winners. The books that have gained, in my personal collection, that have gained the most value over the last week. And it is interesting to look at the volatility of this. Number 10 on the list is Marvel Feature #1 in a raw, very fine. First appearance of the Defenders, up $68 from $227 to $295. I don't know why this book has gotten hot recently. We do have all of the original Defenders, Doctor Strange, Namor, Hulk, now in the MCU. They were joined by Silver Surfer, who may be coming. Could they put this team together in some form? Yeah, possibly. But the Defenders already linked to that Netflix series with Jessica Jones and Daredevil and Luke Cage and Iron Fist. We'll see. That an interesting choice. Number 9 on the list is Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, number 134. First appearance of Darkseid in cameo in a CGC 8.5, up $70 from $475 to $545. Will Darkseid be a big part of James Gunn's plan going forward? I'm not sure. I have my doubts about that, about the use of Darkseid in the near term. Number 1, he was using the Snyder cut of the Justice League, so we have seen him. Maybe they'll go in a different direction. Number 2, he's quite similar to Thanos. And there's a reason for that. He's similar to Thanos because Jim Starlin, the creator of Thanos, was inspired by Darkseid. He based Thanos on Darkseid's look. So, but the average citizen who enjoys Marvel movies doesn't really know that. They know who Thanos is, and they'll say, Darkseid, well, he's a lot like Thanos. Number 8 on the list, Tales to Astonish number 59 in Raw Fine. The first appearance of the Hulk in that title, up $80 from $150 to $239. Some of these Hulk keys have been jumping a little bit. I love this cover. I think it's a great cover. We do see him like just leaping onto Ant-Man. I actually have that's one of my Tales to Astonish books I'm going to send out to get graded. Even though the pricing was kind of borderline, whether it was worth getting graded or not, I think that I'm going to keep that in the PC just because I like that cover. Number 7 on the list is Marvel Previews, number 64, up $82. It didn't have any value a week ago. Now it's worth $82. And on the back cover is an image of Shuri as a Black Panther. The first time we see that predates her first appearance as Black Panther. That in a near mint, as I said, is up $82. And 2.9.8s sold in 2021 for, I think it's $485 and $490. Interesting. These Marvel Previews books, and there was a whole clamor over the Miles Morales one, which may predate his appearance in Ultimate Fallout 4. A book that just missed the list here is Marvel Previews 51, which is the first appearance of the Red Hulk. That went from no value up to $32, and 9.8 of that sold for $650 in October. So if you have some of those Marvel Previews, and they are previews of first appearances of characters, they could have value, especially in a 9.8, although those books are tough to get in a 9.8 because they weren't really saved. People didn't think they had any value, and they're very thick. So it's very easy to get tears along the staples on those, especially flipping through them, see which books you want. Let's go to number 6 on the list. And this is an interesting one. Up $101. It's Vengeance #1, the first appearance of America Chavez in a near mint raw, up from $21 to $122. And I think that's because there was a kind of an outlier low sale of $21 a few months ago. That was because that book hasn't been selling too often. That became the FMV, that solo sale. And now that there was a higher sale, it bumped it up to $122. I don't think that this book is moving up too quickly anytime soon, but I think we're going to see America Chavez again. As this book is bottoming out, might be the time to pick it up. Again, this is only, what I feel. Do your own research. Don't take any. This is not financial information that you should run with, but, just kind of food for thought. Do your own research. Number 5 is a book we've seen on this list already, but this time in fine condition. It's Marvel Feature #1, the first appearance of the Defenders, up $122 from $72 to $194. We did see a VF go up $68, a fine up even more. There is something about this book that is moving it, so that is interesting. Here's something that's also interesting. Number 4 on the list, Daredevil #1, which was on the Biggest Losers list. A poor copy is up $133 from $1,337 to $1,440. Again, poor copies might have more variability because of how they present. They do have desirability because it's an affordable copy that collectors can collect. If you're trying to collect a Daredevil run, it's hard to shell out thousands of dollars for an issue #1, but if you can get it for $1,300, it might be in more people's price range, and that might make more sense. So interesting, we have a book on the up list and the down list. Number 3 on the list is X-Men #14, Volume 1, the first appearance of the Sentinels in a CGC 2.0, up $172 from $149 to $321. No word on the Sentinels. I'm a little bit surprised by this. I do think that book might have been a little bit undervalued at the time, so somebody might have just, bought it a little bit more than other people have been. But it is up $172. Now, it'll be interesting. I'm going to try to do this weekly, and we'll see if some books jump from, especially these higher price books, jumps from the up or the down, back and forth from week to week as we see some sales. Number 2 on the list, Amazing Spider-Man #50, first appearance of Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, in a raw VG, up $223 from $557 to $780. And before I talk too much more about that, I'm going to go to number 1 on the list, which is Amazing Spider-Man #50, first appearance of Kingpin, in a very fine up $444 from $1,300 to $1,744. Interesting. We kind of connect Kingpin to Daredevil. D'Onofrio is portraying him in the MCU. We're reasonably sure we're going to see him in Echo and in the Daredevil Born Again series. This is a book that's already pretty pricey, and it's just interesting to see its value increase in 2 different raw grades. I'm fortunate enough right now to have 3 copies of this book. I have to send them all out to get graded, and obviously they both increased by, I guess, similar percentages. Probably somewhere in the 30% range, but in 1 week, that's a pretty steep increase for Amazing Spider-Man #50. Let me know what you think of this series. And if you want me to continue to do it, again, it's just, a snapshot from my collection. And it's a lot easier than, culling information for dozens of sales and of hundreds of books and that sort of thing that make up some of the hot lists. But it does give a sense of maybe what's happening with these books, and certainly further investigation. Are the books that are going down, is now the time to buy them? Are the books that are going up, do I have them, is now the time to sell them? Is this happening across the board with these books that's making them hot? For most of them, I can't really pinpoint any specific speculation that would lead us to understand why the prices are increasing so much, but that's the way it is. And again, it's just a snapshot. It's kind of fun to kind of look overall at the values that are going up and going down. Let me know what you think of these books. If you think that some of these sales are just kooky, or do these trends make sense? And I think it's kind of interesting that some of the books appeared a couple times. First Batgirl, first Kingpin, first Defenders. Batgirl going down, Kingpin Defenders going up. Even though we're doing, the gun effect is in full force, it is not affecting Barbara Gordon. One of the first casualties of the Discovery Warner Brothers merger and the Zaslav takeover. So let me know what you think about these books. Do you have any books that you've checked that have gone up or down in values since you last looked at the values? Let me know about that in the comments below. And in the meantime, take a look at a couple of other videos here. And this is Jim saying, until next time, enjoy your comics.